Something extraordinary is happening in communities across the world, and most people have no idea it's taking place in small towns and big cities. In rural areas and suburban neighborhoods, ordinary people are quietly coming together to pool their resources for something that could fundamentally change how we live, work, and survive in an increasingly uncertain world. This isn't just another community garden project or neighborhood watch group. This is a movement that's addressing the most pressing challenges of our time through collective action that's proving more powerful than anyone imagined possible. While the media focuses on division and conflict, these communities are writing a different story entirely. The timing isn't coincidental. We're living through a unique moment in history where traditional systems are failing, costs are rising, and individual solutions aren't enough anymore. But instead of giving up, these communities discovered something remarkable. When people combine their resources strategically, they can achieve what seemed impossible just a few years ago. What you're about to learn will challenge everything you thought you knew about community power. The results these groups are achieving are so impressive that they're attracting attention from researchers, policymakers, and even major corporations trying to understand their secret. The crisis forcing people into collective action isn't just economic, though rising costs certainly play a major role. Housing prices have skyrocketed beyond what middle-class families can afford. Healthcare costs are bankrupting people with good insurance. Education expenses are creating generations of debt. Even basic necessities like food and energy are consuming larger portions of household budgets every month. But the challenges go deeper than money. Social isolation has reached epidemic levels, leaving people disconnected from meaningful community relationships. Mental health struggles are increasing as people feel overwhelmed by problems too big for any individual to solve. Environmental concerns are mounting while individuals feel powerless to make meaningful change. Traditional institutions that once provided stability and support are struggling or have disappeared entirely. Local businesses close as chain stores dominate. Churches and community centers lose membership. Government services face budget cuts. The safety nets that previous generations relied on are fraying or gone. Sarah Chen from Portland discovered this firsthand when her family faced a medical emergency that insurance wouldn't fully cover. Despite having good jobs and savings, the mounting bills threatened to force them from their home. I realized we were just one crisis away from losing everything we'd worked for, she recalls. That's when I started wondering if there was a better way. Her story isn't unique. Across the country, families who thought they were secure are discovering how vulnerable they really are when facing challenges alone. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a group of neighbors in Minneapolis who started sharing lawn equipment to save money on maintenance costs. What began as a simple cost-cutting measure evolved into something much more significant when they realized the power of pooling resources systematically. Tom Rodriguez, a retired teacher, had the aha moment that changed everything. We were standing around after a neighborhood barbecue, talking about how expensive everything was getting. He remembers. Someone mentioned that between the 8 families on our block, we probably had enough tools, skills, and spare time to handle most of our home maintenance needs without hiring contractors. The idea seemed almost too simple. Instead of each family buying their own tools and hiring separate contractors, why not share resources and coordinate efforts? The initial experiment involved pooling money to buy a high-quality pressure washer that everyone could use, along with creating a shared calendar for home improvement projects. The results were immediate and dramatic. Families saved thousands of dollars in the first year alone. But more importantly, they discovered that working together created stronger relationships, shared knowledge, and a sense of security that none of them had experienced in years. Word spread quickly through social media and community networks. The Resource pooling system operates on principles that are both simple and sophisticated. At its core, community members contribute different types of resources based on their abilities and circumstance. Some contribute money, others offer time, skills, equipment, or valuable connections. The key is creating a fair system where everyone both gives and receives value. Most successful communities start with a resource audit where members inventory what they can contribute and what they need. Maria Santos, who helped organize a community in Phoenix, explains, "We discovered that between 30 families, we had 2 accountants, 3 nurses, a lawyer for teachers, several contractors, and countless other skills. We also had people with spare time, others with equipment, and families with different financial resources." The organizational structure typically includes a coordinating committee that manages logistics, a resource tracking system that ensures fair exchanges, and regular community meetings for decision making. Many groups use simple apps or spreadsheets to coordinate schedules, track contributions, and manage shared resources. Financial contributions are pooled into community funds used for purchasing shared equipment, hiring services that no member can provide, or investing in projects that benefit everyone. Time contributions are tracked through volunteer hours for community projects, child care cooperatives, or shared services like meal preparation and elder care. Quality control happens through peer accountability and simple rating systems. If someone consistently provides poor service or fails to contribute fairly, the community addresses it through established procedures. Most groups find that social pressure and genuine desire to help neighbors naturally maintains high standards. Success metrics include cost savings for families, increased community satisfaction, project completion rates, and member retention. The most successful communities track both financial benefits and social improvements, measuring everything from reduced household expenses to increased neighborhood safety and stronger social connections. The Riverside Community Cooperative in Osteen, Texas transformed a struggling neighborhood through strategic resource pooling. 47 families contributed to a shared fund that purchased a community workshop equipped with profs. Chanel Tools established a child care cooperative and created a community garden that now supplies fresh produce year-round. The financial results speak for themselves. Participating families save an average of $3.200 annually through shared services and bulk purchasing. The community workshop alone saves members thousands in contractor costs, while the child care cooperative allows parents to work flexible schedules or pursue education without expensive daycare fees. But the social transformation has been equally remarkable. Crime in the neighborhood dropped by 60% as residents became more engaged and vigilant. Property values increased as the area gained a reputation for community cooperation and safety. Local businesses report increased foot traffic as residents actively support neighborhood commerce. In rural Montana, the Bear Creek Resource Alliance took a different approach, focusing on agricultural cooperation and emergency preparedness among ranching families spread across vast distances. 23 families pooled resources to purchase expensive farming equipment, coordinate bulk feed purchases, and establish an emergency response network for medical situations or natural disasters. The Bear Creek Alliance has weathered severe storms, equipment failures, and medical emergencies that would have devastated individual families. Their shared grain storage facility and coordinated marketing efforts have increased crop profits by an average of 18% per family. Most importantly, the isolation that once characterized rural life has been replaced by a strong support network that provides both practical assistance and social connection. Successful resource pooling communities are creating impacts that extend far beyond their immediate neighborhoods. The Minneapolis group, that started with shared lawn equipment has inspired similar initiatives. In over 30 cities across 3 states, their model has been studied by urban planning researchers and replicated by communities facing similar challenges. Economic impacts are particularly significant in areas where multiple communities adopt resource pooling approaches. Local businesses report increased sales as communities coordinate bulk purchases and prioritize local vendors. Employment opportunities emerge as communities hire members for internal services or create cooperative businesses that serve broader markets. Environmental benefits multiply as communities reduce waste through sharing, coordinate renewable energy projects, and implement sustainable practices at scale. The Bear Creek Alliance's coordinated farming practices have improved soil health across thousands of acres while reducing chemical inputs and fuel consumption. Social and cultural changes are equally profound. Communities report reduced political polarization as neighbors work together toward common goals. Mental health improvements occur as social isolation decreases and people feel greater control over their circumstances. Educational opportunities expand as community members share knowledge and skills informally. Recognition from institutions is growing. Several communities have received grants from foundations interested in community resilience. Local governments are beginning to incorporate resource pooling concepts into community development planning, recognizing the cost, effectiveness, and sustainability of grassroots cooperation. The path to successful resource pooling hasn't been without obstacles. Initial skepticism came from community members who worried about fairness, quality control, and potential conflicts. People were afraid of being taken advantage of or getting stuck with more than their share of work, explains Jennifer Walsh, who organized a community in Denver. Resource management proved more complex than expected. Early groups struggled with scheduling conflicts, maintaining shared equipment, and ensuring everyone contributed fairly. Some communities experienced personality conflicts when strong-willed members disagreed about priorities or methods. External pressures included insurance complications for shared equipment, zoning restrictions on community workshops, and occasional resistance from local businesses concerned about lost sales. Some homeowners associations initially opposed community sharing initiatives, viewing them as potential property value threats. Solutions emerged through trial and error. Successful communities developed clear agreements outlining expectations, contribution requirements, and conflict resolution procedures. Insurance issues were resolved through umbrella policies or community-owned equipment storage. Legal concerns were addressed by consulting with attorneys familiar with cooperative structures. Most importantly, communities learned to start small and build trust gradually, rather than attempting comprehensive resource sharing immediately. Successful groups began with simple projects that demonstrated benefits and allowed relationships to develop naturally. Communication systems improved as groups learned to address concerns proactively and maintain transparency in all dealings. The potential for scaling resource pooling communities represents a fundamental shift in how society could address its most pressing challenges if current growth patterns continue. Researchers estimate that over 10 million Americans could be participating in resource pooling communities within the next decade. Long-term vision includes networked communities that share resources across broader geographic areas, creating regional resilience and economic opportunities. Imagine interconnected communities coordinating everything from renewable energy production to local food systems, creating sustainable economies that prioritize human well-being over corporate profits. Integration with existing institutions is already beginning. Several municipalities are exploring partnerships with resource pooling communities to provide services more efficiently. Educational institutions are studying these models for insights into community development and social cooperation. Healthcare systems are interested in community-based approaches to wellness and care. The tipping point for widespread adoption may be closer than expected. Economic pressures continue mounting, while community success stories spread through social media and word-of-mouth networks. Each successful community serves as a model and inspiration for others facing similar challenges. Success at scale could mean communities that are more resilient, sustainable, and socially connected. It could mean reduced inequality as resources are shared more equitably, decreased environmental impact through coordinated efforts, and stronger democratic participation as people become accustomed to collective decision-making. Starting or joining a resource pooling community begins with conversations. Talk to neighbors, friends, and community members about shared challenges and potential solutions. Organize informal meetings to explore interest and identify available resources within your network. Resources for getting started include online guides developed by successful communities, workshops offered by community development organizations, and networking opportunities through social media groups dedicated to resource-sharing initiatives. Many established communities offer mentoring for new groups. The urgency of acting now stems from mounting challenges that individual solutions cannot address effectively. Every month that passes without community cooperation means continued financial strain, social isolation, and missed opportunities for positive change. Your community has the power to write a different story, but only if you take the first step toward bringing people together.